My township, my home. Mbare provides me with everything I need. My township holds away more than 1 million secrets, revealing a few to each of us, its residents, so that we may survive. Today, people view Mbare differently, but the story of my township and home began more than a century ago. Before I made a tour of Mbare with my Heritage in Focus colleagues, I had an opportunity to spend time in the Zimbabwe Museum of Human Sciences Museum Library, going through some volumes of literature works containing some precious historical information about Mbare. During the 19th century, the Kopi area, which sits on the western edge of the central business district of Harare and its surrounding locations, belonged to Chief Mbare, one ancient traditional leader. During that period, white settlers had established a town known as Salisbury, now called Harare, Zimbabwe's capital city. Our fathers told us that establishment of Salisbury instantly triggered an influx of immigrants from neighboring Mozambique, Malawi and Zambia seeking employment opportunities here. Such a phenomenon inevitably gave rise and opened way to an era of speedy urban development. But real urban growth was accelerated when our township relocated from where the Cold Storage Commission is today to its present location. Initially, Mbare was largely populated by migrant workers as local workforce preferred to maintain their rural homes. But the period around 1940 witnessed an acute shortage of labor in the white settler-controlled factories. The responsible colonial municipality responded by constructing Matapi flats and Mbare hostels to accommodate male local factory employees. At that time, our fathers would work for a few days while staying at their newly established bachelor quarters, then return to our rural homesteads where our mothers and rest of other family members lived. Life was not easy for our mothers then. There was strictly controlled access to the bachelor quarters, a situation which denied them their rightfully deserved access to their husbands in the city. But in sharp contrast of those past years, today these flats and hostels are occupied by couples and families. Although my township of Mbare was built in the heartland of the Zulu people, it was the immigrants from Malawi and Mozambique who became some of the township's first, if not even earliest, inhabitants. The immigrants started laying the foundation of cultural diversity seen today in Mbare, as the Malawians brought with them their masked cow dance associated with Kule Wamkule. On the other hand, early Mozambican immigrants brought with them the Butwa dance. However, Shona rural dances like Jerusalem only made gradual inroads in Harare, since the local Shona people maintained their farming practices in the rural areas as well as paying their tax obligations without having to establish strong urban roots in the cities. My name is Herbert. I grew up here in Mbare. Matapi Flats is the only place I used to call home. Here, it is the cluster of towering buildings mainly consisting of residential quarters. These stunning images of various works of art are always mesmerizing to any visitor here. They actually tell the story of our life here, but in a rather more unique way. The artworks present and celebrate interesting moments and figures of our community. They also depict our daily activities, valuables, and ideologies we identify with as a community. Through this window, I can clearly look out into a distance. This enables me to, in a way, connect with various activities happening within my neighborhood. My suburb has a rich history as well as various places and landmark heritage features which we closely identify with. A few hundred meters from Matapi Flats is the age-old Mbare My Home. It was clearly there when I was born. It is an age-old market dominated by fruits and vegetable farmers supplying their products. Another fascinating feature visitors can locate here is the curio market. This is arguably the largest marketplace for artwork to be found in the entire Harare metropolitan province. Products for sale here include unique soapstone sculpture pieces, traditional music instruments like mbira, drums, leg and hand rattles, various products of pottery work in their different sizes and shapes, as well as anciently used mats made from original animal hides. To an unsuspecting visitor, this curio market in every aspect resembles a museum. It is quite resourceful with various artworks which the diverse communities and minority groups across Zimbabwe can identify with as key elements of their rich indigenous cultures.
Musika uno Mbare takushandisa kuunganidza zvinhu zvedu zvechivanhu zvese kubvira panana bute, tsvimbo, makano, maponde, maturi, zvese zvakuwanika muno kuburikidza muno Mbare musika hakuna kumwe kwazvinowanika kunze kwepanapa. Saka takaita sekuunganidza sokuti yakutobuda semuseum. Kutoti munhu kana akuda chinhu akuziva kuti ndakuenda kuMbare musika, covered musika. Inoyi yamasvikira panapa. Saka tine zvese zvuma, tine migoti, tine magabha yamuri kuona, tine bute, tine tsvimbo dziri paserapo, tine inonzi chambo ndotinobika bute iri, tine mapuresa yamuri kuona aya anogadzirwawo nevanhu nenyanzvi dzinogona kugadzira izvozvo. Kuona izvozvo dzichikaranga idzi dzematamba, toenda pane idzi rehose, zvese zvaakugadzirwa munondo. Tinaya tinoti mabatata nehari idzi dzamuri kuona idzi dzaakugadzirwa futi munomu kubudikidza neunyanzvi hwakuratidzwa kubudikidza kuti vana vedu vakure vachiziva. Ndetimbira kuti twakushandiswa nemagrade 1 kuratidzwa kuti mbira yakamira sei iri mudeze mayo.
Over the past years, various artists with their pieces on display for sale in the curio market have hugely benefited from their healthy business cooperation with the country's heritage and cultural custodians, the National Museums and Monuments of Zimbabwe. The organization has always prioritized promoting the business at the curio market through buying of various artworks usually meant for heritage and cultural exhibitions. The organization periodically conducts in various districts and communities across the country. What you see here is an agile public transport ring. it has been full of life since its establishment decades ago. From here, public service buses and commuter omnibuses ferry travelers to almost all destinations across the country and beyond its borders. Here in Mbare, there is nothing like a free meal. One has to brave the scorching heat and biting weather temperatures so as to eat out a living. The language here is simple: hustle hard and survive. Taking a northwards walk from Mbare's main public transport ring, one will certainly not miss the sight of Mbare's iconic historic building and most popular heritage feature. With its ordinary architecture, this building quietly lies behind a fence erected by the municipality of Harare, who are its owners and custodians. It is famously known as My Home, a name given to it in great honor of one of Mbare's great heroines who changed many lives through her heroic voluntary works and activism. Oral tradition and other research findings conclude that during the first half of the 20th century, a fearless female resident of Mbare named Elizabeth Maria Ayema helped found the Harare Women's Club in 1938. Through her spirited efforts, the organization is said to have managed to provide mutual aid to women of Mbare during that time. It is also understood that Harare Women's Club successfully offered services and classes for the women, as well as lobby for a maternity clinic staffed by Red Cross trained women. Elizabeth Maria Ayema is said to have tirelessly supported women's rights in her roles on the Native Advisory Board and the National Welfare Society's committee. There, she worked against the eviction and arbitrary arrest of women, as well as humiliating examinations for sexually transmitted infections. In the 1940s, Elizabeth founded a solidarity group for women in Mbare together with Berita Charlie and Sabina Maponga. In her capacity, Elizabeth Maria Ayema became the leader of the group, which earned the now popular appellation Amai, which means a mother figure to the women of Mbare during that time. Born in the Mazoe Valley area around 1885 and being a niece to the great spiritual leader of the first Chimurenga, Nehanda Nyakasigana, Elizabeth Maria Ayema died on the 21st of July 1952. In great tribute to her heroic and selfless works, this building, which was formerly known as the Salisbury Locations Recreation Hall, was renamed My Home in her honor. Even today, My Hall remains in good use as scores of women drawn from the residential areas of Mbare convene at the hall for their social club gathering and meetings. Like in other countries, historical buildings remain an architecture of a period and always reflect its history, type of society and its culture, identified with Harare's architecture, and one of its oldest townships, Mbare, cannot be preserved in libraries or galleries. It is indeed always around us. The architecture might not be mesmerizing at times, but it maintains a wealth of meaning, always seen and interpreted differently by each of us. Some of the buildings were actually put in existence several decades ago, a period many of us can only learn about through oral tradition and literature writings. To complement other available efforts of preserving the rich history and heritage of historic buildings across the country, the National Museums and Monuments of Zimbabwe, through its Historic Buildings Department, is always maintaining a close look and cooperation with both the central and local governments so as to ensure the safe preservation of the heritage associated with such structures. For us, the local residents, the Stodato is more than an iconic feature. It always provides us with an ideal place to retreat from the bustle of our crowded streets for a fairly peaceful hangout. We have always been told by our elders how this landmark structure of our community came to be. It is also a privilege to us that a number of other sport and recreation facilities are located within the vicinity of Stodato. These have always provided an opportunity for us to participate in a wide range of sporting activities like swimming, volleyball, and soccer. Going back to the Stodato, any visitor can easily note somehow the little impression this historic building makes compared to other iconic national monuments like the National Heroes Acre. The Stodato building is located along the Parazangu Street in the heart of Mbare's residential area of National. The structure was built in 1957. Not known to many people of my generation, this building is actually named after William Swan Stoddard, who was then the deputy superintendent of this township, which was called Harare Township at that time. William Swan Stoddard held the position of deputy superintendent of the township from 1929 to 1936. He was later appointed as the substantive superintendent in 1936 until 1952. The building comprises a foyer, an auditorium, offices, a library, among a host of other room facilities. But originally, the building was constructed for the purposes of an additional recreational facility for residents of Mbare following the erection of Maimsozi Hall some 22 years earlier. Neither does the hall boast of a majestic charm nor the huge popularity of the national shrine. But for all its flaws, the Stodato, which is also the biggest community center in Mbare, claims a high but uncelebrated place in the corridors of Zimbabwe's liberation history. Not many people, especially the younger generations, know that it is in this building where nationalist leaders met and plotted confrontation of the colonial government during the onset of the Second Chimrenga. Today, the Stodato is the place for the last vigil for the nation's deceased heroes and heroines, where the masses pay their last respects before burial at the national shrine. But only a few people remain able to identify with the rich history surrounding this historic structure. But according to the National Museums and Monuments of Zimbabwe, like Maimsozi Hall and many other buildings of such great significance to the rich history of the country, the Stodato is not yet a declared national monument. It only remains a protected area while proposals and plans to declare the building a national monument are being deliberated on by the central government. However, in other countries, historical community centers like the Stodato attract enormous township tourism. Our country can also take a leaf and benefit as well, but that can only be the case if buildings like the Stodato and Amaimsodi Hall, with all the rich history surrounding them, are given due recognition they deserve. Generally, my township provides boundless business and trading opportunities for all products one may need or imagine of. In actual fact, my township has a larger-than-life character. As much as my township oozes a wealth of history, it also commands a strange charm which has always distinguished it from other townships. But the world is always black and white here. While the municipal authorities can be fast and efficient in delivering services to us, eventually they are outnumbered by our enormous population, which looks certain not to cease growing anytime soon. These garbage mounds you see can actually grow with each passing minute, and raw effluent, either logging or flowing along our streets, are for now a common sight. As a community, we believe the drainage system which services our houses and other facilities is being strained by our enormous population. Maybe it is high time the central government and other responsible authorities pay attention to our dire situation. Despite the notorious rogue elements who pollute our community and haunt us day and night, not all hope is lost for a better and decent community which can be treated with dignity by those viewing us from afar. Over a long period dating back to an era before the independence of the country, Mbare has managed to nurture some of the biggest household names in the country's music industry like Thomas Mafumo and Hilton Mambo. I'm visiting one of Mbare's popular figures today. His name is Sam Chris, a music producer at Qsport Records. I'm hoping to find him at his recording studio, which is located in Matapi Flats. Together with his colleagues at their studio, Sam Chris has managed to bring back lost hope, if not life, to a decent number of talented brothers and sisters from my suburb through the now popular Zim dancehall genre of music. For us individuals of a younger generation, it is always an opportunity to enjoy life in this age-old township. But we also have to work hard and create our own piece of history and heritage to be cherished by other generations to come.